Are you willing to get involved militarily to defend Taiwan if it comes to that?
Yes.
U.S. President Biden sends a warning to China. Hello and welcome to VOA Asia Weekly. I'm Chris Casqueo in Washington. That story coming up, but first making headlines across Asia. South Korea conducted joint missile drills with the U.S. just hours after North Korea fired 3 missiles of its own. A top advisor to South Korea's president said during the World Economic Forum that North Korea has not responded to Seoul's proposal to send COVID vaccines to the country. Around 1,800 people in one Beijing neighborhood were relocated to nearby Hebei province for COVID quarantine, state-run Beijing Daily reported. Former Bishop of Hong Kong, Cardinal Joseph Zen, and singer Denise Ho made a court appearance for their roles in running a now-defunct fund to help those who took part in popular protests. China's foreign ministry denied knowing about a letter from Micronesia's president objecting to a proposed deal among Beijing and 10 small Pacific nations. China's foreign minister is visiting 8 South Pacific countries over 10 days. Ending a 6-day trip to Asia, U.S. President Joe Biden used the war in Ukraine to signal a warning to China to uphold fundamental principles of the international order. VOA Chief White House correspondent Patsy Widakuswara reports from Tokyo.
During the summit of the informal grouping known as the Quad in Tokyo on Tuesday, Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and newly elected Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese joined U.S. President Joe Biden in condemning the war in Ukraine.
We're navigating a dark hour in our shared history. The Russian brutal and unprovoked war against Ukraine has triggered a humanitarian catastrophe.
In a message seen as directed at China, the Quad vowed to prevent similar hostile action in Asia.
We also agreed that unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force will never be tolerated anywhere.
A day after he said he would use force to defend Taiwan should China invade, Biden said U.S. policy of strategic ambiguity on the nation is unchanged.
Our policy has not changed at all. I stated that when I made my statement yesterday.
While many fear China's invasion of Taiwan, Chinese militarization is most acutely felt in the disputed waters of the South China Sea, where Beijing has built and militarized artificial islands. China has dramatically increased its military spending and now has the world's second-largest defense budget after the United States.
In terms of capability, it's still very far below the United States, but it is catching up pretty quickly, and at least in the Asia-Pacific, if not in the entire world.
Quad leaders also unveiled a maritime initiative aimed at reducing illegal fishing. China is the worst offender, according to the 2021 IUU Fishing Index, which maps illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. But China is not the only country in the region engaged in the practice.
So while this is intended, I think, to highlight Chinese actions in their waters, it may also highlight some of the countries that the United States and the Quad countries are trying to court.
As the Quad met Tuesday, Russia said it conducted joint air patrols with China over the waters of Japan and the East China Seas, releasing a video of the aircraft. Patsy Widakuswara, VOA News, Tokyo.
Visit our website, voanews.com, for the most up-to-date news. This is VOA Asia Weekly. UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Michelle Bachelet spoke with Chinese President Xi Jinping via video link. Bachelet planned to visit the northwestern province of Xinjiang to investigate the detention of Muslim Uyghurs, but China has said her visit would be conducted in a closed loop, leading critics to question whether she can accurately assess the human rights situation. Sri Lanka's prime minister was sworn in as the country's finance minister on Wednesday. Sri Lanka, an island nation of 22 million people, has been hit with its worst economic crisis since independence in 1948. The Prime Minister will lead talks with the International Monetary Fund about a possible bailout. Finally, on VOA Asia Weekly, Cambodians released 580 turtle hatchlings into the Mekong River to mark World Turtle Day. The critically endangered Cantor's giant softshell turtles were blessed by some Buddhist monks before officials and students let them go in the river. That's all the time we have here on VOA Asia Weekly. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Chris Casquejo. Please be sure to tune in again next week.